But we begin this morning with the Israel Defense Forces announcing they've taken operational control of the Gaza side of the Rafah crossing. The military released this video overnight of troops entering the area and beginning a, quote, precise counterterrorism operation. Israeli officials say they seized the crossing after receiving intelligence it was being used for terrorist purposes. No evidence to support that claim was provided. The IDF also conducted airstrikes that targeted suspected Hamas positions in Rafah. The move comes just one day after Israel ordered about 100,000 civilians to immediately evacuate parts of the southern Gaza city. Officials say they will operate with extreme force in those areas. Willie.
And shortly after Israel ordered civilians to evacuate Rafah, Hamas announced it would accept its interpretation of a ceasefire proposal. Its interpretation is the operative part there. Hours later, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu released a statement saying the proposal Hamas agreed to does not meet Israel's demands. NBC News obtained a copy of the draft. The first phase calls for a 42-day ceasefire, as well as the release of 33 hostages in exchange for a much larger number of Palestinian prisoners. In the second phase, there would be the enactment of a, quote, sustainable calm. Two officials familiar with the revised proposal tell the New York Times there were minor wording changes that were signed off by the U.S. and Israel. That includes the phrase sustainable calm, but sources tell the Times Hamas viewed that term as an end to the war, which Israel was expected to push back on, of course. Negotiations are set to resume today in Cairo. CIA Director Bill Burns is expected to take part in those. Joining us now live from Jerusalem is NBC News Chief Foreign Correspondent Richard Engel. Richard, we can talk about the ceasefire in a moment, that agreement and those two dueling interpretations of it. But first, Rafah, what's happening down in southern Gaza this morning?
So Israeli troops overnight took over the Palestinian side of the Rafah border crossing. So that gives Israel effective control of this key entry point into Gaza. It also gives them a foothold into the city. Israeli officials say that this is not the start of the widely anticipated big Rafah offensive, something that President Biden has opposed. They say that this is a tactical move, but it is also something that strengthens their hand as they go back into negotiations. So they are holding part of Rafah. They did leaflet the area. But our crew in Rafah started documenting the Israeli bombing campaign really just hours after the leaflets were dropped. So they didn't give very much time for people to evacuate the area. We talked yesterday how they were using text messages and leaflets to tell people to get out of this part of Rafah. But within hours, they were bombing, and according to medical officials, in overnight attacks, including that incursion into the Palestinian side of the Rafah border crossing, at least 20 people were killed, including children.
Obviously a perilous mission and furthering perhaps the humanitarian crisis there. Richard, let's talk about this ceasefire and help us understand what we're looking at here, because you have it one brokered by Egypt and Qatar. Hamas says, yes, we agree to the terms of a ceasefire. Israel says, wait a minute, that's not the ceasefire we agreed to. So what are we talking about here?
So it is quite complex, but I think you have to understand this as a negotiating process. There was quite a bit of progress over the last week or so. Israel, backed by the United States, put forward a document. It was presented to Hamas. It was presented to the Egyptians and the Qatari negotiators. You remember that Secretary of State Blinken praised that offer, saying it was very generous. Hamas took it. They said they were reading it positively. But then the Israeli government, Prime Minister Netanyahu, didn't send a negotiator to follow up on the conversation, didn't send anyone to attend the final talks, because from Israel's point of view, the document was done. It was as good as it was going to get. Even Secretary of State Blinken said it was very generous. So why go to the meeting? Because showing up at a meeting, like in any negotiation, implies that you're going to have to negotiate a little bit more. Israel didn't go, and Hamas and the negotiators, working off that document that was there, without the presence of the Israeli delegation, said, yes, we agree to the terms. Here it is. But the terms that they presented were not exactly the same terms that Israel had presented. So now Israel says, fine, we will go back. They're sending a, quote, working level delegation to Cairo today to see if they can find some common ground based on these two interpretations of the document that was sent. But what it does do is it puts quite a bit of pressure on Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu, because in this document, Hamas openly says, we're willing to release all of the hostages, all of the women in phase 1, 3 phases, each one 42 days. We're willing to release all of the rest of the hostages in phase 2. So the Israeli hostage families are hearing that. Opponents of Prime Minister Netanyahu, who are accusing him of not taking the hostage release seriously, are hearing that. And it would be very difficult at this stage for the Israeli government, Prime Minister Netanyahu in particular, to walk away from this deal entirely without at least sending a negotiating team. And members of his right-wing coalition praised him for not sending a negotiating team. So we're seeing this process play out, and Hamas sort of outed the Israelis by coming public yesterday with its own agreement, saying, don't paint us as the people who are rejecting everything. We're willing to negotiate. We're willing to release the hostages. You just need to show up and finish this deal.
NBC's Richard Engel explaining a very complicated situation well to us. Richard, live in Jerusalem, thanks so much. We appreciate it. So